Hola, good morning, sixth graders. Hoy es el 8 de mayo 2020. Let's take a look at today's quick Friday lesson. I want to take a quick moment and thank those of you who came to tutorial yesterday. It was not a large group, but I think it was a productive time. So thanks to you who came to tutorial. Okay, let's get back at it. As far as our grammar is concerned, one of the things we're doing is verb conjugations. Okay? Now I want to make something very clear. What we've done so far are AR verb conjugations, and we've just started doing ER conjugations. I want to make something clear. ER verb endings are different from AR verb endings. Okay, so I noticed on some of our assessments, some of you are putting the AR endings for ER verbs. Remember, if the verb ends in ER, then we have to practice using this set of endings, not this set of endings, which pertains to AR verbs only. Okay? So we've looked at some common ER verbs, and these are those verbs in their infinitive forms. Now let's look carefully at this example, comer, to eat, conjugated 6 ways. Okay, so instead of o, as, a, amos, ais, an endings, we have o, es, e, hemos, eis, en endings. All right. So it's very important that when I ask you a question during one of these Edpuzzle videos, and it has to do with maybe putting a verb in one of these 6 different forms, that you don't do it lazily and that you don't use the endings from AR verbs when we're working with an ER verb. All right? So ER verb endings, o, es, e, hemos, eis, en, which can be applied to all of these verbs that we have listed up here, which I also have listed for you on Quizlet. Okay, so last class we spent some time conjugating some of these verbs like aprender. Same thing, right? O, es, e, hemos, eis, en. Comprender, to understand. Comprendo, comprendes. Comprende, comprendemos. Comprendéis, comprenden. O, es, e, hemos, eis, en. Same thing with responder. O, es, e, hemos, eis, en. And leer, which I had you do 6 ways by yourself. Leo, lees, lee, leemos, leéis, leen. All right. So this was just to get you used to the ER endings as opposed to the AR endings. All right. So that's that. So the formula is that we take off the ending of the infinitive, and then, depending on the subject pronoun, we add one of these endings, depending if it's an AR or an ER verb. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. So there are also IR verbs. IR verbs have very similar endings to ER verbs, only difference lies in nosotros and vosotros. All right. Now you go. All right, the meaning of the sentence. I learned to speak Spanish. Yo hablar español. Fill in the blank. Yo aprendo a hablar español. I learned to speak Spanish. Yo aprendo a hablar español. Él, he runs in the mountains. Él en las montañas. Fill in the blank. Corre en las montañas. Él corre en las montañas. Let's do one more. Los estudiantes something a las preguntas. The students respond to the questions. Fill in the blank. Los estudiantes responden a las preguntas. All right? Sorry, one more. Nosotros, the verb is esconder en la cocina. The meaning is we hide in the kitchen. Nosotros, fill in the blank. Escondemos en la cocina. All right? Any questions about those? Remember, we're practicing our ER present tense endings. Now I want to change gears a little bit. So back to the vocabulary. We've been talking about classes in school. La clase de arte, ciencias naturales, educación física, español, inglés, matemáticas, tecnología. I want to learn now how to do comparisons using our adjectives. So we've got these adjectives: boring, difficult, fun, easy, favorite, interesting, practical. And what I want to learn how to do now and to practice next week is these comparisons. So la clase de fill in the blank, it could be español. La clase de español es más interesante, is more interesting. La clase de español es más interesante than que la clase de, fill in the blank, tecnología or something. Okay, so this is what we're going to be focusing on next week, in addition to our verb conjugation grammar and our vocabulary. So here's another example before I let you guys go for a good weekend. These are comparisons, right? So let's focus on this example. La clase de inglés es más difícil que la clase de español. All right, so it's a comparison between la clase de inglés and la clase de español. La clase de inglés es más difícil que la clase de español. How would you translate that sentence? Okay, if you said something like, English class is more difficult than Spanish, then you're good. Okay, you're on the right track. So that's it for today's lesson, guys. I hope everyone has a wonderful fin de semana. Que tengáis un buen fin de semana. Y nos vemos el lunes. Vamos a seguir trabajando. El año está casi terminado. The school year is almost over. But we're just going to continue working until they tell us to stop. So I hope that you continue to enjoy La Clase de Español. All right. Hasta lunes. Hasta luego.